The gravity drill was infamous across the academy. No cadet from any species had ever passed it on their first attempt, and most failed repeatedly before earning a grudging approval from the instructors. The chamber was a massive sphere, its walls lined with shifting plates that could alter gravity on a whim, reversing directions, multiplying forces, or cutting them all together. Inside, cadets had to navigate floating obstacles, grab energy nodes, and make it to the other side without blacking out, breaking bones, or flailing helplessly until the system shut down to rescue them. The drill wasn't about strength. It was about adaptability. And most species weren't built for that. On this day, a group of 30 cadets from across the galaxy stood at the threshold. Reptilians with thick tails, four-armed insectoid with razor-chitin, avian biped hybrids with hollow bones. All of them had one thing in common: dread. They had watched others attempt to drill, and fail spectacularly, slamming into walls or crumpling under sudden G-shifts. Every cadet whispered that this was the Academy's way of weeding out the unfit, and among them stood one human. The cadets had heard rumors about Earthborn species, Deathworlders, adapted to extremes, dangers in ways even the instructors couldn't define. But he didn't look dangerous. He looked ordinary, standing there in his gray training uniform, hands tucked behind his back, a slight grin tugging at his lips as if he were waiting for something fun to begin. His name was Lieutenant Daniel Reyes, though the instructors simply called him the Human. The instructor, a towering six-eyed Kartian, rumbled in a deep tone, "Cadets, you will enter the chamber one by one. Collect 3 nodes. Reach the exit. Time is not measured, only survival. Fail, and you repeat until you succeed or wash out." One by one, the cadets entered, and one by one they failed. The first reptilian cadet tried brute force, leaping through shifting fields only to be slammed into the wall by 10 times his weight. He was dragged out, wheezing and clutching cracked ribs. The insectoid cadet clung to a wall in panic when gravity cut to 0, spinning helplessly until the rescue field pulled her back. Even the avian biped, with wings suited for microgravity, slammed into a shifting plate and broke a wing joint. The chamber floor was littered with groaning cadets by the time Daniel Reyes stepped forward. The Kartian instructor's mandibles twitched. "Human, enter." The hatch hissed open, and Daniel floated in, the sphere sealed behind him. For a moment, everything was still. The cadets outside watched with hushed anticipation through the observation window. Then the chamber came alive. Gravity flipped sideways. Daniel stumbled once, then steadied himself with a laugh. 10 times his weight slammed him down a moment later. Instead of panicking, he spread his arms like a wrestler, gritting his teeth, his face red but determined. Then the chamber cut to 0G, and Daniel did something none of the cadets expected. He pushed off the wall and flipped upside down, tucking into a ball. "Wee!" His voice carried through the intercom, and outside, the cadets stared in disbelief. He wasn't struggling. He was playing. When the next burst of gravity hit, sideways and crushing, Daniel rolled with it, letting it toss him like a rag doll. Instead of resisting, he laughed again, pushing off obstacles and spinning deliberately, grabbing a floating node mid-spin before launching himself toward the next. "Is enjoying this?" one cadet whispered. Inside, Daniel turned the chamber into something it had never been, a game. He hooped at every shift, twisting his body with uncanny control, grabbing ledges and rebounding like a child on a playground. He even started narrating to himself, pretending the floating nodes were prizes in some arcade machine. "Got 1. 2 more to go. Can I beat the high score?" The Kartian instructor frowned. This was not the intended approach. The drill was designed to break cadets, not amuse them. And yet, Daniel was adapting faster than the system could keep up. Every time gravity shifted, he flowed with it instead of resisting. When it cut out, he treated it like swimming. When it multiplied, he braced and laughed at the sheer absurdity. And in minutes, he had collected all 3 nodes. Then came the finale. The chamber spun its gravity fields in chaotic succession, designed to force panic in even the strongest cadets. But Daniel tucked into a roll, using momentum like a gymnast, bouncing from plate to plate with calculated joy until he reached the exit hatch. He slammed it open, stepped out, and gave a mock bow. The other cadets were silent. The Kartian instructor, after a long pause, said simply, "Pass." But it didn't end there. The next day, the drill resumed for those who had failed. The reptilian cadet entered again, trembling with memory of his last attempt. He lasted longer this time, but was still smashed against the wall. He was dragged out, ashamed. Then Daniel clapped him on the back. "Hey, you're trying too hard," the human said. "Stop thinking of it as a test. Think of it as a game. Like, imagine you're a kid on a jungle gym. Don't fight it. Play with it." The reptilian frowned, confused. But Daniel grinned wider. "Here, watch." He demonstrated outside the chamber, mimicking how he bounced, rolled, and laughed through it. Don't resist the push. Ride it. If gravity slams you sideways, pretend it's part of the ride. And when it cuts, swim through it, like water. The next attempt, the reptilian lasted longer than he ever had before. He even caught one node, and though he eventually failed again, he emerged smiling for the first time, muttering, "It did feel like a game." One by one, the other cadets tried the same approach. The insectoid stopped panicking in 0G and began fluttering her limbs as though she were dancing. The avian biped treated the chamber like a wind tunnel, spreading wings for control. And slowly, impossibly, the failures turned into near successes. By the end of the week, cadets who had been terrified of the drill were laughing through it, calling out to each other, comparing scores based on how many nodes they grabbed before failing. The Kartian instructor observed this strange transformation with a mix of frustration and reluctant respect. The drill was never meant to be fun. It was meant to test survival instincts. But somehow, by reframing it as play, the human had unlocked something no one else had considered: adaptability through joy. On the final day, when every cadet passed, Daniel stood among them with a grin. "See? Told you. Games make everything easier." The reptilian, panting and victorious, muttered, "Humans are insane." The insectoid clicked her mandibles in agreement. Insane but effective. The avian biped looked at Daniel with something close to awe. "You turned the Academy's most feared trial into playtime." Daniel shrugged. "That's what humans do. We play. We turn danger into challenge, fear into fun. That's how we survive." The Kartian instructor finally addressed the group. This was not the intended outcome, but the results are undeniable. For the first time in Academy history, every cadet in a unit has passed a gravity drill. Credit goes to the human. Daniel just chuckled. "Nah, credit goes to the game." And from that day forward, the gravity drill was never the same. Future cadets whisper the first human, who entered laughing and came out victorious, who taught them that survival wasn't just about strength or fear. It was about play, about turning the universe's most crushing challenges into something as simple as human, as a game. And though the Kartian instructors never admitted it openly, deep down, they feared what this meant. Because if humans could turn the Academy's deadliest trial into amusement, then what else could they do? No one wanted to find out, but the galaxy would.